Welcome to the Contrarians, and we are live. It's Wednesday. The topic for tonight, massive album, crap cover. Panel's here. We want to hear from you in the chat. We are late and we are alive, but we are here. Jamie had a little bit of a technical problem, but we took care of it because we are professionals here on the Contrarians. It's just the three of us tonight. We've got Jamie and, of course, Martin and myself, and we're going to talk we're going to talk massive albums, but the album cover is absolute crap. So we do want to hear from you in the chat. We want to keep this interactive. It's all about talking music here on the Contrarians. So I do want to welcome the panel. Well, I want to welcome Jamie because he's the only one on the panel. But it's funny. We'll have more people back next week, but it's just one of those things. But I want to thank everybody in the chat. So panel, how are you? Nice to see you. Martin, Jamie, how are you today?
Absolutely. We want that. We want the chat to be part of this today, but we've got a lot of asides and stuff too. I think we can make this a substantive show.
I think we can. We've done it before, and I'm sure we can do it again. So tonight, I want to start out. We'll go Jamie, Martin, and myself, and we'll keep going around. We will bring the chat in as we can. You know how it works if you've been here on the Contrarians, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get this started. Jamie, what is your first pick?
All right. I did not write down how many units all these albums sold, but they're at least 10 million. At least 10 million.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah. So the first one we brought up before on a past episode, but it's a pretty bad album cover. And I didn't bring anything out, so I hope you got the graphics up and ready to go.
Jamie, I got your back.
All right. Matchbox 20, Yourself or Someone Like You. This sold a bazillion copies. Wow. And I think in the 90s, we just didn't even realize how bad that cover was, because in the 90s everything was a little goofy and 90s like. There should be a word for that kind of 90s art. I don't know what it is.
I don't even like the font. I don't like really anything about it, but
I'll be talking a little
it took off.
As well, I've never seen this album.
Martin, come on. Maybe it didn't come out in Canada. I don't know.
Over 10 million, crazy. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's not April Fool's. You've seen this before.
I can't name a single song by them or anything. I don't know what.
No, we're gonna have to. Yeah. I don't know what we're gonna do about this, but
you couldn't walk 4 steps without seeing that cover in 1996. All right, Shania Twain, Come On Over.
Okay.
It sold a bazillion copies, and it's part of that thing I don't like, where they get a little too close up, where it looks like it's a better picture that they took, but they zoomed in way too much.
Well, she also looks very overexposed. I'm sure that's
as well.
Yeah.
And the fonts are kind of crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't see her like elbows. It looks like a vinyl copy, like Phantom Comes Alive, where you should open it and see the rest kind of thing. But it was
Jamie, if Shania's on the cover, I want to see her damn elbows.
Yeah, exactly.
And everything else, right?
Bring us those elbows.
I didn't say that. You said that. I just said I wanted to see her elbows.
Yeah, but that that album right there is when country music as a whole kind of jumped the shark. Right with that album.
I mean, that's
crap ever since.
Yeah. But isn't this album more like country pop? It's probably more pop than country.
And it's the first album that kind of made country pop. Yeah. All right, Evanescence, Fallen. This is a band, right? So we just got Amy Lee on there, and that's it. And again, with the too close up, too weird, maybe it'd be a better picture if they showed more.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I just saw this when I was putting the graphics together, Jamie. This album came out like 25 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Wow.
And you know what? Since I'm old and decrepit, I look at this and I think, oh, that's a fairly current record. But then it's not. But it is.
What was the first hit with the dude rapping?
I have no idea. I never bought it. I thought it was crap.
It's the first song I ever downloaded, though.
Wow.
Yeah, first single I ever downloaded.
Looks like, what is it? Looks like
Marilyn Manson-ish.
It does. It does. Elder, you have nailed that. Yeah.
That was around that time, about 2003.
Yeah.
I think it came out. So it's not
all right.
quite.
Let's take a look at who's coming in here on the comments. We've got Stephen Ivan here, Elder of Rock, who we've heard from already. The Come On Over international version covers better, says Elder. Mr. Frickin' Fracken says Hemispheres loves the record, but not the buns. There's Stephen again. You too, Joshua Tree should have been just use the icon. Yeah, we had Jamie do the tree thing before. Born in the USA. Don't need to see his back size, says Steve Polari. Let's see. Slippery When Wet. Should have just kept the original cover. All right. So
I agree.
Yeah. All right. So my first choice is Def Leppard Vault. You know, I actually like that it's a little bit different from the usual Def Leppard album covers. But yeah, it's a crap cover. You know, it's just kind of a mess compilation. And I have some doppelgangers for you. We've got King Crimson Thrack.
Oh my God!
A little bit of 9 Inch Nails maybe on Downward Spiral, right?
A little
Spiral. So yeah, at least this breaks away from the you know, can't stand these ones. So these are also your standard Def Leppard look is your primary color, straight out of the can red, straight out of the can blue. You know, terrible album covers. So my theme here though is these greatest hits albums. So yeah, this was 5 times platinum, and it's crazy. We could almost do a whole show that's not really an album cover show, but just these bands that have this sleeper massive hit album that nobody thinks about, their greatest hits album quite often.
Yeah.
And it happens a lot with these bands. So my next one fits along here as well. We've got Aerosmith Greatest Hits. And this album is 12 times platinum, if you can believe it. So this is a diamond album for them. No one ever thinks about it, right? They think about Pump and they think about, you know, Toys in the Attic. But Toys in the Attic now, I believe, is diamond, or it's nine times at least. But I think it might be diamond by now. But yeah, so this is a huge record. And then they've got these other ones, Classics Live and Classics Live 2, that have the same sort of look to them. And Aerosmith Gems is not good either. So, you know, what happens with these greatest hits albums often is that the band isn't particularly involved. Sometimes they're even against the idea. I don't know why they would be with this thing being 12 times platinum. But, you know, the label just kind of puts something together, and it's got that whole sort of corporate look to it. And I thought to wrap up this little symphony of the first duo, we've got Def Leppard Retroactive, which is another compilation, and then
that's bad too.
Aerosmith did the exact same famous painting adjustment with a live album, right? So there's your ring around the rosy with Aerosmith and Def Leppard, and coincidentally, both of them have been kind of 2 of the best examples of big sellouts, right? As well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my last one for this first one is Foreigner Records. Man, I hate this album cover. Foreigner has so many.
I always liked it. It looks like
I hate it.
This takes you back. Well, if you grew up in the early 70s, you've seen too many K-Tel albums and Music Explosion and all those things. And this looks like all of those.
Yeah,
right?
it does.
At least it is a die cut. So you do get the, you know, oddly, it's on one of these round, you know, simple, cheap paper things. But it is, that goes and shows through the thing. But yeah, so this was a 7 times platinum album for Foreigner, and you generally, I kind of tend to forget it even exists. And I thought for the last cheat I'd bring in, I know we've talked about this before, but there's
that's not all that
massive
great
seller from Foreigner that is a complete crap album cover, right? We've talked about that one before. There's my Lou Gramm signature on that one.
Cool.
So that is my first 3. And let's see who else has come in on the comments. MC Hammer, please don't hurt us.
MC Hammer.
Yeah, I think that goes without saying. Let's see. Sticks Kilroy was here. What a letdown after the previous covers. Crappy new logo too. Good point. Scott Carr is here. Gareth is here. Rainbow Down to Earth. Big album in the UK. Yeah, not a massive big seller. Radiohead, the band's great choice, John. Excellent choice. That cover is just annoying to look at. Just kind of puts you in a bad mood. But that's Radiohead for you, I guess. All right, over to Grant.
All right, cool. Well, before I go to my next choice, when I was going through this and trying to compile what I was going to compile, there could be a show on greatest hits album covers, because I think for the most part, most of these greatest hits album covers really fail.
Yeah, I got.
And you would think when they're doing this, because they know how well these sell, you would think they'd want to really bring their A game to these covers, but they don't.
You know what, Grant? We should make the show, just to spice it up a little bit. We should make it just awesome greatest hits covers, right? Let's find the good examples, because we know most of them are bad, right?
Right.
That'd be kind of cool. Yeah.
Well, Flash G, I thought Marco was going to come on, but he didn't get his list. But Marco will be back, so Flash G, we will see Marco here again. All right, let's get going. All right, here's my picks. Once I find them. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm going to start out with now. This is when I look at all the data for bands that have sold the most, and now, we've had many greatest hits comps from this band. I don't think we need another one, but okay, I'm throwing this out there. Beatles 1. You've got the damn Beatles, ladies and gentlemen, and this is what you come up with?
Yeah. I don't even like the title. I get the reference, but I don't like the title. Are they trying to get a certain demographic? I don't understand, because the old people could give a crap about this. Evidently, it's the young people they're trying to get, but I don't get it. Mm-hmm. Now, they did put a version of this out that I bought on DVD actually Blu-ray, that's got all the restored Beatle videos on it, and it looks absolutely stunning. So I get that, but just to put out a greatest hits like this, I mean, you could get the blue and the red comps. I just never understood the whole thing here, and I think they totally failed. Crappy cover. I don't like it. Now, my next pick, now don't hate me, but you have to admit, for as big as this band is, this album cover really is crap. And I'm going to go with Metallica. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. I never liked this at all. I didn't like the way they did the logo, like all kind of.
It was embossed though, right? On the vinyl? Was it?
I don't know.
1991.
That's the end of when they quit.
Year, Grant. That's the point.
That 91 was the last year of vinyl.
No,
before they really shut it down.
I say 90. And I'm even in Canada. I mean, I think it's more like 90. So this is well past. So I mean, this is really a CD album, but I don't like this whole treatment at all.
This is a bit of trivia, but you know what the last vinyl album was? In the 90s before, but you still had the Foo Fighters. They pressed some of that. Eric Clapton, Night After Night. And it was on, I've showed this before, but it came out on Columbia House. It was a record store. I wanted to say record store day. It was a record club. And that was really the last one.
My story is always walking into Sam the Record Man, and the last records that I could buy on vinyl before I gave up were on the same day, I think it was Red Hot Chili Peppers' Mother's Milk and Aeros Smith Pump. And then after that, I basically switched over to CD, because it just, they weren't coming in as new releases anymore in Toronto at that point.
But everyone in the chat, you have to agree, even though this is considered probably the last great Metallica album, I'm not getting into that, but what a crap cover, even though it sold a lot. All right, I'm going to go look at another band that, again, this goes with the theme. There's going to be a theme here tonight. This goes with another album cover. It's a greatest hits, but it's crap. ABBA Gold?
Yeah.
Come on. Is that crap, Jamie?
I mean, it's simple.
It's crap.
What
They're
drives
not
me
even
crazy
trying.
about these, a lot of these, like this it's got 2 titles. You don't know what the full title is, what to call this thing, right? You know,
Right.
and one title's bigger than the other one. So, like, is it? How do you type this? Do you put
Gold colon greatest hits?
Yeah, just like Van Halen Best of Volume 1, right? You know, and then they never put out a Volume 2, right? Oh.
But you know, I'm probably bitching a lot because these records sold. This is probably the number one ABBA release. These greatest hits sell, but I just think you would bring a little bit more to the game here, but they don't. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, you know who's looking up from hell and laughing at us for this show is Peter Grant, right? Because basically the whole idea of let's put In Through the Outdoor in a paper bag because it doesn't matter what the cover is. It's still going to sell like crazy, right? So that's kind of the theme of the show, right? It's like for everybody who stresses over what the album cover looks like, everything on this show is an example of it doesn't really matter what you put.
It doesn't matter. I don't think it matters. So, yeah, it is what it is. Oh my God. We had like 20 comments. Martin, do you want to go through those before we jump over to Jamie?
Sure. Was that 3, Grant?
Yeah, that was my third one.
3. Okay. So what do we got here? Normand is here. Agrees on Hysteria. Logan, let's see, Nordic Minimalism, Kiss Double Platinum. Yeah, I remember that, Normand. And then
Kiss Double Platinum's good though.
Well, every one of those gets scuffed, right? And eventually,
yeah, they all look old.
Yeah, but when you were a kid, think about it. Everybody in the chat, think about this. Yeah. When it came out and you opened up that cellophane and it's looking, and you open up that, remember everybody, you opened up the gatefold and you looked at the band members. So you were trying to figure out what they really looked like.
Yeah.
We all did it. It's a great cover.
We also all vaguely felt like we just wasted our money. Like, why are we buying this particular Kiss album?
No, I thought it was like a gift from the gods when it came out. It had Strutter 78.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. That's basically all you got from it, right? Alan Parsons' Project, I, Robot, LOL, Metallica, Don't Tread on Me album, Invisible Touch. Yeah, well, there's going to be a little Genesis later on. Let's see. Okay, all right, over to Jamie.
All right. Well, Double Platinum was cool when you were 8 years old because
it's still
you didn't have your own money. So if you could get one Kiss album mom and dad were going to buy you, get the one with all the songs you know.
Exactly.
You have it.
Yeah. But it's still a great comp, though. It's a great comp.
It is a great comp.
I'll give it that. It is a great comp. All right.
All right. REM, Out of Time. I did look this one up right away, right before the show, and 18 million copies worldwide.
Man.
Yeah. It was their biggest record.
Yeah, it's the first midnight sale I ever saw. I wasn't part of it, but I walked by it. I'm like, what the hell? People waiting in line at 11:30 at night for a record or a CD? Wow. Yeah. But the cover is pretty sucky.
Yeah.
Going back to Aerosmith. Pump.
Oh.
Now, I mean, we used it for the thumbnail. Now, it always looked like 2 trucks having sex.
Well, that's what it is.
I know. So why not just call it Hump? That's where you're going with the title anyways. Aerosmith Hump. But they called it Pump instead, I guess. So whatever. But it's kind of stupid, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah. Can you imagine walking by and them taking pictures of that and going, what the hell this is going to be the cover for the new Aerosmith. Oh, cool.
You know what? I expected more out of Gethin, though. It just seems like a lot of those Aerosmith covers aren't that hot. Really, in that old Geffen era.
I do like the logo in purple on black, though.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. REM. Oh, I skipped one. Eagles, Greatest Hits Volume 2. Always hated this one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you skipped one. That's all right. Here we go.
Awful. I hate the colors, the drab colors, and just the simpleness of it. Oh my God, it's so dumb. It's so dumb.
And again, the double title, the text is like off to one side and then volume 2's over there.
And they couldn't get the record on and they're trying to hit the bullseye and they missed a few times.
Oh, that's what it is. I thought it was gunshots. I was confused.
It's a little bit like Sweet off the record too, right? That whole look.
Yeah.
All right. Is that 3?
That's 3.
That's 3.
So my
All right.
next 3, I've got Led Zeppelin 2 to start with. And I took my framed one off the wall where I've got a collage of a signed Robert, a signed Jimmy, and my John Paul Jones sign. I don't have John Bonham on that, but always hated this cover. The fact that, it's kind of, clever putting the band mixed in with, this picture, but never liked these colors on it. It looked just too 60s. I do like the logo. That's pretty cool. I wish they would have carried on with that. That would have been kind of a cool logo, actually. But yeah, the 2 is put in there in black. But this is an absolute massive album. This is, I believe this was their first, or no, maybe it's their second album to go diamond, but I think it is diamond. I believe the first might have just gone over diamond as well. The gatefold in this was really bad too. Just kind of like, I don't know, again, bad color illustration sort of thing. The theme of my next, these ones are all 2s, right? So my next one is Guns N' Roses Use Your Illusion 2. Or Use Your Illusion 1. The story here is that Axl is actually really into the artwork of these albums, right? The same thing happened with Chinese Democracy, but for this, he went around to art galleries locally to try find a painting to use on the cover, and he found this weird painting that is so hard to describe what it is. It's basically taking some older work of art, and this artist did a slight manipulation to it. So it's not even really a painting. And then this has like an inset. It's just like the whole concept got complicated, and it just didn't seem to be worth it, because I don't think this is a particularly arresting image. I do like the idea of how these both have. I do like the text treatment, bringing up the old, elongated text. And I like the idea that you've got the 2 different colors distinctly with them. So I like that they're related, but just the image just seems completely pointless, and the whole way they got it is convoluted and weird. My last one is Pearl Jam Versus. So we've got the second Pearl Jam album. So these are all kind of 2s. And I wanted to pick this because, generally speaking, these grunge album covers, there's a lot of black and white photography because of Charles Peterson and all those sweaty live shots and stuff from Seattle. But there's a lot of black and white. There's a lot of fisheye lens. There's a lot of elongated images. Doesn't even say verses on it. And I think a lot of this has to do with just these. There's the back cover. A lot of this has to do with the grunge guys just saying, we're anti-commercial, man. We don't care what it looks like. We're going to make it really obscure and simple and dumb. We're going to annoy you with the artwork, because artwork is so, it's so the man kind of thing, right? And then I thought, just for kicks, I'll bring out Vitalogy, which isn't very cool either. Then I've got my little Vitalogy book.
My goodness.
I hate how Vitalogy fits in my CD collection.
Yeah, I know.
You have to put it so the spine doesn't read out.
Yeah. And this has a little bit of kind of a tool thing going on inside of this Vitalogy book, which is kind of cool. And then, no code, all of them. No code is completely annoying as well. The debut is pretty cool too. But yeah, Pearl Jam, obviously big selling band. But they're just doing the grunge thing too, and just trying to be artsy, right? It's trying to be a little bit abstract or pop art or modern art or whatever you want to call it, performance art even. And just, basically saying that the album covers don't mean a lot. So let's see what we got here. I saw Tommy Shaw here. Ambition. Yeah. Oh wait, that's massive, right?
Yeah, that would not count because that didn't sell crap.
New Order, no good album artwork. Normand, in my opinion, says Louis. Nirvana, Nevermind. Yeah, that was
not very good.
Okay. It's kind of
pretty iconic.
It's iconic. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Kind of like Led Zeppelin 2, says Dark Wizard Room. I grew up a Pirates fan of the previous conversation. Black Sabbath Volume 4, says Brian. Yep, I do not like that cover at all. I think I covered that in a previous episode. Zep 2 cover is cool. Says Guitar Hack is here. Very cool.
Yeah, he's here.
Yeah, Kyle Louis. Saxon Power and the Glory. Yeah, absolutely, but not a big seller. So that wouldn't qualify here. It absolutely wasn't a massive album. It's got massive production, but that's kind of about it. Okay, over to Grant.
All right, here we go. Okay. It's always me shifting gears. All right, so my number 4. Oh my God, this is truly hideous. Now, I'm not a fan of this artist. Jamie probably is because he loves the Jackson family. But
Janet.
Hey, I'm just calling it as I see it. I don't know. I'm just making an assumption. But you have to admit, and I'm not even sure what the hell this is called, but when I was doing my research, this came up because I just saw it. And even though this isn't listed under like quote unquote lists of horrible album covers, but come on. Michael Jackson history, past, present, and future. What is going on here?
Yeah.
Can you say pretentious?
You know what that always reminded me of? It reminded me of a Terence Trent D'Arby album cover, and because he had those complicated titles too, right? I mean, that title just drives me up the wall too.
But this thing sold like you wouldn't believe.
And they're trying to say his story at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Pretty dumb.
think this is hideous. Yeah. But maybe it's just me. If you're a Michael Jackson fan, you may embrace this.
I'm going to Google how much that is sold. I'm curious to see.
A lot. I don't have my notes up, but it sold a lot.
Yeah.
Everything he was doing at that time was like
I
gold.
know it sold a lot, but it seems everyone had Bad, everyone had Thriller already. And
well, this is for a different audience, I think. All right, so my number 5, I'm going to go with an artist I really don't know much about, but when I have to be honest, but when I saw the cover, I'm thinking, how did this sell so much? Yeah, I've heard of the name, but I do not have any of this in my collection. James Blunt, Back to Bedlam. I looked at this and go, what is it? Looks like an indie album, and I don't think it is. Jamie, you've got this in your catalog, in your archive. Tell us about it.
Blunt and say, no,
I'm just asking. I don't know.
Wasn't this guy one of those American Idol guys? I think so.
This is a UK guy. He's UK.
Is this a massive album?
Oh my God. Yeah. When I was doing, yes. Sold a shitload. Anybody in the comments, if you know James Blunt and you are secure in making a comment, please do. Cause I've heard of the name, never heard it. All right. So my number 6. Now this we know was a huge record. This band had a lot of great hits. Michael McDonald joined the band, tried to make this band into the Steely Dan. And we're talking, my number 6 is the best of the Doobie Brothers. And it's kind of like that Foreigner album cover, Martin.
Doppelganger, yeah.
I don't like it.
I don't mind it.
I don't like it. It's just like come on. It looks like someone went to the Happy Days set, went into Mel's diner, took a picture of this and threw it on an album cover. I just don't look like they've tried. The Foreigner album looks like they tried harder. At least that's a painting. This is just some photo.
It looks like they worked on the lighting a little bit to me to get it green on
Martin,
top.
What do you think?
Those of us who lived through the rock and roll revival and Sha Na Na and Happy Days and American Graffiti, it's triggering, right? You don't like these kind of album covers. So there you go.
Right.
And you got the double or name there with listening to the music. Is that part of the
Oh.
Well, I saw this. Is it called Best of the Doobies, or is it called Best of, or is it called Best of the?
I don't know. We need to send this out to a panel for them to decide. But I don't like it. I've never liked it. I don't like it. So
does it even say Doobie Brothers on it anywhere?
You should just know what it is. It's the Doobies.
Well, that's annoying in itself. So
yeah, I don't like it.
All right.
So I had to bring it up. So all right. Well, let's see what's happening in the chat. I'm sure it's everybody going to comment on the Doobie Brothers.
Also has a North Korean feel to it. Sha Na Na Ha Ha Ha, says Kyle. We should do the whole show on Sha Na Na.
Well, Stephen, I'm not saying I don't like the record. I don't like the cover. But you like the cover. All right, that's cool.
Armand, yeah. You got Hot Rocks, Rolling Stones, says Steve. Yeah, another lame best of album cover. Bob Dylan Greatest Hits 1 and 2. Most boring out of focus stage shots from the back of his head. Wow, good one, John.
Yeah, it's not good.
Very cool. All right, over to Jamie.
All right.
When I found this one online and how much it sold, I thought of Martin when I thought of In Sync in this album.
Oh my God! Really?
Because it's the kind of thing I think that bothers Martin. It's called No Strings Attached.
Yeah.
But
There's
the band has strings attached. So why is it called No Strings Attached?
Jamie, you know what else bothers me about this? Every time I have to type In Sync, I have to look it up.
How often are you typing?
How? Yeah,
I
that
don't
makes
know
me
why, but I am
concerned.
often. I actually am. I don't know why, but I definitely have many times had to. In fact, I've also had to create a style sheet for my panel books lately, finally, to like figure out how do you spell sync? Do you put the H on the back or not? And nobody's really come up with a full decision on that one even. So
Here and I thought you were writing a book on In Sync.
No.
But now I'm just very disappointed.
Oh yeah, it's like all caps. Is there a dash? Is there an apostrophe? I mean, it's just.
You got to put the little star in the end.
Oh my God.
I'm just surprised Jamie knew about this record.
Dude, I was alive in 2099.
I know you were. I know.
I was working in bars and such, so it was hard.
Oh, then you heard. Oh, you heard that on the
I
jukebox
worked
all the time.
Until 99. This next one is still in the top 50, top 100 selling albums right now. The recent Billboard Top 200, and that is CCR Chronicle 20 Greatest Hits. And it just looks so lazily thrown together. Now, when I was a kid, a youngin', I would come home from school and watch Scooby-Doo and such. And every day, one commercial break would have the best of CCR. Call now for, double album or double cassette. 6 to 8 weeks for delivery. And that album cover, which was this, I just took a picture from the YouTube commercial. It looked better than that. Yeah. So, yeah.
I don't have a real problem with this record, this cover. To me, it's all right. I don't know. Hey, compared to the other
point about CCR, CCR is one of these funny bands, a little bit like Creed, right? And I always say Grand Funk is like this as well. But when everybody has discussions about certain genres or eras or whatever, nobody ever puts CCR in any of those lists, right? You notice that? Nobody ever talks about this band, and yet they're just a commercial juggernaut, right?
Yeah. No one really, and everyone forgets they were at Woodstock.
They would, but they didn't. What was the story behind that? Because I know, like in the director's cut, they make an appearance, but they weren't in the original cut. I don't know why they didn't want in it. Who knows? But I think that probably hurt them a bit. They should have been in the cut.
Well, they're doing all right. John is just.
They're doing all right. Well, their manager screwed them, but.
Martin, did you mention Creed?
Yeah.
Yeah. My next one's Creed. Human Clay.
Okay.
Horrible record. Yeah. Horrible record, cover.
Horrible band, horrible cover. But people bought it up, and then about 5 years ago, they started popping up in thrift stores everywhere because people that bought that kind of music got tired of it. And they
Douche Rock.
Yeah, Douche Rock, one of the king Douche Rock albums of all time. And my next one, the front cover looks like the back cover of most albums because it has the songs and things right on the front cover, and that's James Taylor's Greatest Hits. There you go. What's on this album?
It's horrible. That is horrible.
There you go. That's what's on this album. What's the name of this album? Well, it's all the names of the songs is the name of the album.
Yeah. Good one. All right, is that your final?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Okay, so let's see. What else we got here? Any Creed? Let's see. Any Creed will do. Guitar Hack, They Can Take You Higher. No. The Elder Brothers, the Creed cover looks like a cheap version of the E100. New Kids on the Block, Hanging Tough, says Mirko. Van Halen OU812 says Mirko as well. Good one. But Depeche Mode, Music for the Masses, is definitely a terrible album cover for the greatness of the music. Lol. All right, so my final four. Let's start with David Bowie, Let's Dance. After the amazingness that was, you know, the Scary Monsters album, not so much the album cover, but this is just so 80s dated. I mean, that's the whole idea. His hair served as a metaphor for, you know, this new Bowie, and he put on the suits and stuff like that. But yeah, the colors and the little dance step, you know, letters for the title. Yeah, everything about this just screams dated now, right? And the music kind of did as well. But
I don't have a problem with it.
All right. Well, do you have a problem with the follow-up ones? Because the music got worse and the covers, I think, tended to stay in the same space, right?
I
kind of feel very, very
No.
80s, in every way you can imagine.
Let Me Up, I Had Enough isn't too bad. Is that the name of that album?
Never Let Me Down and Tonight are the two follow-ups. Yeah.
I mean,
Very
it's okay.
similar. This is so much after Burner, after Eliminator. It's not funny. After Let's Dance, it's just so much like it, right? And this pretty much is too, kind of thing.
But you know what? I will say this, Martin. It looks like they tried on these album covers. Some of these album covers we look at, it doesn't look like they tried.
Yeah,
and that looks
true.
like something that they actually put some thought in.
There's some work put into them. Okay, my next one is Genesis. We Can't Dance. And yeah, I've been neglecting to mention the numbers and stuff here. So yeah, this went 4 times platinum, but we also have you know, Invisible Touch at 6 times platinum. We've got Duke Wasn't So Great, but it's kind of cool. I kind of like it. And you know, I never liked that cover either, the font and all that. But going back to We Can't Dance, it's just this really sad looking suburban Sunday afternoon romance novel. You know, bed and bath store kind of design. Yeah, just everything about it just makes you want to have a nap, kind of thing, right?
Well, you know what he's saying.
You're
no son of mine.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's got some meaning behind it. And then we've got this on the inside as well. So yeah, so that's my first pick. My next pick is Soundgarden, Super Unknown.
I almost picked that.
Never liked that album cover. There's my signed one there, you know, on a Screaming Life EP. So that gives you the grunge sort of early grunge, late grunge. Always hated that album cover. Don't know who that is in the picture. Doesn't look like Chris Cornell. Don't like those blurry. I never like those pictures where it doesn't really look like someone in the band, even if it is. And this has a little bit of, I noticed it's got a little bit of, hang on, mine. Well, that's interesting. Is it the actual Super Unknown cover? Because mine is quite different. Mine doesn't have that arc over it.
That is the 20th anniversary cover.
Oh, okay.
Which one? Mine?
Yours. Yeah. Mine's the original.
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know.
That's what it originally looked like. Because that's my
This
CD.
is the 20th anniversary, I believe.
Okay.
And
Well, thank God we have someone here that knows.
And, you know, I didn't think Down on the Upside was a very good cover either. I mean, most of them aren't very good for Soundgarden. I don't think they have very good covers. And my final one is the Eagles, The Long Run. I don't have a physical of this anymore, but, you know, I don't hate this cover. There's just something about it that, like, it doesn't line up with the title, but it also bothers me. There's a pomposity to it. The Eagles being this massive juggernaut. I think they're very overrated, but I mean, even just on like an objective level, for that kind of music to get that huge just seems kind of odd to me. And yeah, you know, and everything we know about the guys and them all being dicks and fighting all the time and all that kind of stuff, right? The feuding, and then writing these songs all about feelings, right? Just doesn't line up to me, right? But yeah, so this album cover, I mean, it's a little bit like those album covers that say, we're better than coming up with album covers. We don't need to. We're just going to put this on here. You know, we want to look like a bank building, basically. That's what this looks like to me. So never liked this album cover. And I wanted to pick Eagles because I really don't like almost all their album covers. I just don't think. I mean, they got some cool ones that actually look even kind of heavy, right? What's the one with the skull thing on it? Is it Desperados? I don't know.
Greatest Hits has
Greatest Hits has a skull.
Yeah. So, but just generally speaking, I don't think they do that great a job with album covers. But there you go. That's my last one. Let's before we go over to Grant, let's see what else has come in here. Boy, a lot of people are in the room, but it doesn't look like there's any new comment. Oh no, here we go. Now we're scrolling. The dude doesn't like the Eagles. That says it all. Lou Reed ecstasy makes me want to take a shower and wash off all the Lou Reed. Nice
oh my God.
More man, too much going on in all these Fish and Marillion album covers. I agree with that. They put too much stuff in there just to try to be too clever, right? That is an absolutely insightful comment there. Talking Heads remain in light, says Robin. Soundgarden, is that a band? Says Ivan. Again, millions around.
Yvonne, that's maybe you don't have Soundgarden in Norway. I don't know.
Gary Wright, the Dreamweaver, is in here as well. More Marillion stuff. Alice Cooper, Hey Stupid. Yeah, it's a terrible, terrible album cover.
That is horrible.
Nice. Not huge, though. Not a huge album.
Yeah. Wouldn't be a Contrarians mention without a show without a mention of Love Beach. So there you
go. Did Love Beach sell, though?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. What did that get to? I'm not sure.
No idea.
I'm not sure. But it's probably sold 100,000 copies just from us talking about it all the time.
Probably.
Yeah. All right, over to Grant for your final four.
All right, here we go. Now, we know that Martin just mentioned Eagles Long Run. Now, I'm not going to say much about this, but I'm just going to throw it out to everybody. And this is just by chance. But what if I throw this up after looking at the Eagles Long Run? What do you think of this?
Wow. Interesting. Kind of similar.
It's kind of cool.
Is it?
Yeah.
I've never really.
What's the difference between that and the Eagles?
Well, it's
Distortion Pedal. Distortion Pedal, I think, is the difference.
It's the same damn cover.
Yeah, I know.
I don't like either one. It just doesn't look like they tried.
Yeah. And the original is embossed, right? It's got some embossing on it.
Well. Yeah.
So I think the Eagles Long Run was embossed.
Not sure.
I think it was here, at least in the States it was. The original pressings were. I'm just throwing it out here. I think it's crap like the Eagles Long Run. Now, since I'm going to piggyback on this, and everybody in the chat, please let me know if I'm full of crap or not. But this is probably even worse.
Yeah, it's crap.
Now that was definitely embossed, and it was definitely metallic ink too, which is kind of cool.
The original ones were. Yeah, I remember that. But is this any good though?
No, I don't like it at all. No,
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And the fact that these two records sold as much as they did, I'm still surprised, but that's okay. Yeah. Well, I will admit this is a much better record than this one. But it is what it is.
Grant, it really does drive home that point. Back in Black really drives home that point. Like, it was no guarantee that album should be as big as it got, right? It's a pretty heavy band. They're not famous yet. They've got this compelling story. There's some excitement around this band. But I would imagine that a few people at the label might have thought, you know what? We could have a hit with this, but I think we just killed our chances with that album cover, right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just expected more.
Obviously, they didn't. So obviously, it proves Peter Grant's point. That it really doesn't necessarily matter. But it told us the story. It reinforced this sad and interesting story about what happened with this band, and it was in Boston. It did look spooky and cool and all that stuff. But yeah, I would imagine there would have been some hand wringing over putting that out with that cover, thinking this may not sell because of this cover.
Yeah, but if anybody knows those Australian releases from AC/DC. Those original album covers, I'm not talking about the international versions or the domestic versions. Those Australian covers were hideous.
I got 2 of them. Yeah, they're terrible.
They're terrible. But I do. Okay, I will give AC/DC some props. I do like the international or the US version of High Voltage with Angus on the front and the back cover with all the photos. See, that's horrible.
That's a TNT. That's the original High Voltage.
Yeah, I mean, those are. Thank God for the American version of that because it looks awesome.
Dirty Deeds is the worst.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got an original pressing of that.
With the bowling pin arm.
Yep. That's horrible.
Here's the one I like. This is one of the coolest things I own. The 3 guys signed version of Look at the Switch.
Very nice. I'm assuming by that point, all those AC/DC album covers were all the same cover by that. Universally, internationally, they were all using the same covers by then.
Well, actually, Let There Be Rock. Let There Be Rock has, we just did our podcast episode, Kicked in the Teeth, an AC/DC podcast I do with John Gaffney. We just did our Let There Be Rock episode this morning. And, I don't have the international, but what it was.
It's horrible.
It's a picture of a neck of a guitar with fingers blurring playing on it. And those are Chris Turner's fingers from the band Buffalo because AC/DC was on tour. So that he wasn't around to shoot, Angus's or Malcolm's fingers. And Angus remarked when he saw it, says, "Yeah, he's got fat fingers, doesn't he?" There's what we all got, right?
Which is a lot better, though. Some people don't like that cover, but I'll take it because you've got that AC/DC logo.
Yeah.
And what a great logo. I'm going to blame the U.S. market for developing that. I don't know who did. Obviously, we did in the States, I'm assuming. Was that ADCO? So I would assume ADCO did that.
Yeah.
But that I don't have a problem with. But this other stuff, come on, try a little harder. That's all I'm saying. All right, this is my number 10, and I know Jamie's probably has this, and he might, because he's mentioned this artist before, and I'm not judging, but if you've sold as many records as this artist had in the 80s, is this really a good album cover?
Yeah, I never liked it.
Jamie, what's your thoughts?
On the cover?
Yeah. I'm not even sure what it is.
I'll give it a 5 out of 10.
A 5.
I'm not hating it. I'm not loving it.
Looks like a UK New Romantics album cover, right? Spandau Ballet.
It looks more like a Spandau Ballet, New Romantics, maybe a
Human League.
New Wave album cover. Yeah, it looks, you know what it looks like, Martin? It looks like a Simple Minds album cover.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like the version of Like a Prayer on that because it carries the dance beat even through the slow parts when the original had no beat. It was just, real slow and moody. They upped it for the greatest hits version, though.
And that scares the hell out of me that he knows that.
Yeah,
but that's
one of the best pop songs ever written, if you ask me.
All right. Wasn't that written by, help me?
I don't know.
Nile Rodgers? I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. What do I know?
Just guessed. I just don't know.
All right, well, we got a couple minutes left. Why don't we look at the chat, Martin, and see
we've got
what's happening.
The AC/DC cover, cool as canon to celebrate for those saluting AC/DC. Yeah, okay. There's a whole story behind that too, where Crocus was. I think it's the canon that Crocus was going to use first, and then AC/DC kind of took the idea.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Let's see, Van Halen, 1984. Let's see. Looks like the top of a box of chocolates. Yeah, absolutely.
It does.
Totally true. It does. Or cigars, right? Let's see. AC/DC song is very similar. Dynasty was cool. Yeah, it was a pretty cool hack. Yeah.
I don't have a problem with Dynasty.
I always like that. Let's see. Kiss or the 70s Beatles to me, Lewis, says Logan. Kiss Dynasty, I like. It's scary to me. Yeah. It is, it's true.
Logan, it's because you're only 20. It's all scary to you right now.
AC/DC Aussie covers look like artists are drunk. Pretty funny. Was Kiss Alive 2 a ripoff of Let It Be? Interesting. Yeah, with the separated photos from Chris. Razor's Edge. Yeah, most of the AC/DC covers are just not very well. Very good. Fly on the Wall says Guitar Hack. Yeah, to me, that's a show I was going to suggest to you guys. Rock albums with country album covers. With
Wait a minute, say that again, Martin. Rock albums with country album, like
country.
Oh my God, we are talking Black Oak, Arkansas. Then
Yeah, well, Fly in the Wall even better, right? Because it's
Yes.
not even a Southern rock band, right?
That's a great topic.
Yeah, it might be. We'll see if we can come up with enough.
Yeah, well, we might be limited.
No, there you go. I think it's time to wrap her up, Grant.
All right, so wrap it up. My God, this was a fun show. I do want to thank everybody for coming on tonight and contributing. If we didn't get to your comment, well, there's a lot of comments. We had a lot of people on tonight, so I do want to extend a thanks to everyone to come out and be interactive, because we're just really trying to turn you on to stuff. Now, I'm not really trying to turn you on to Madonna, but Jamie might. But I do want to thank everybody for coming out and having fun. Jamie, thanks for coming on, and Martin, of course, Martin and myself. If you'd like to be on panels, we would love to have you. We have a Patreon. Please subscribe. We have a lot of great comments and a lot of great music talk over there. We also like Kofi. We have a Kofi. Buy us a cup or a pint. We like that. And also donations. We do this because we like to talk music. We're not really out to change the world. We're just trying to turn you on to stuff. But we do like donations because really, we don't get a lot out of this program. We're no Sea of Tranquility, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. I'm just joking. Love Pete. But anyway, please, if you like more of this, please donate or whatever. So next week, I'm not exactly sure what we're going to talk about.
Are we doing the 45 sleeves?
I think so, yeah.
45 sleeves.
Yeah.
Do you either want... I'm in host mode. Do anybody want to talk about that real quick?
Well, I think all we had planned was just ones we really, really like kind of thing. We haven't gone any further than that. I think that's just what we're going to do. So 10 each.
We're going to keep it loose and keep it just a general thing. So everybody in the chat, please look at your 45 sleeves, come up with something, and we will have another great discussion. Based on that, let's wrap this dog up. We'll see you next week. And what's next on the Contrarians? There's always something coming up. So, all right, everybody, we'll see you. Keep it real and keep it clean.